Hello and welcome to Eye on Oakland. I'm Chuck Moss. We're talking to one of our favorite people, Clinton Baller, Birmingham City Commissioner. Actually, full disclosure, Commissioner Baller and I go back many years to the old days of the Birmingham Buzz when you pioneered essentially online journalism, and it was that was really quite a thing back in those days. And so you went on and went legit though. So okay, yeah, there it is. Or as my friends in the news said, you crossed to the dark side. You're a politician now. But, win one election, and what do they say? You've won more than one. So welcome. What's going on in Birmingham?
Lots. What are you interested in hearing about or talking about, Chuck?
Oh, I'm interested in all kinds of stuff. What do you think? What's number one with you?
Oh, golly. There's so much going on. We do have a lot going on. We have some infrastructure projects. We're working on improving the parking decks on the roads, sewers, water, all real interesting stuff. We have the YMCA project, and then we have, I have personally taken on talking about the community house. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm always happy to talk about the community house, and we can get into that a little later. So you talk about the YMCA. That's a good one. What's the big news? How's that going?
I'm not on the ad hoc committee, but I am on the commission, and I'm sort of keeping an eye on it a little bit. I think we've had a couple of little stumbles here and there. We were a little too focused maybe on getting things done quickly, because next the senior organization is presumed to have to be out of their current home within a couple years, and we were trying to get things moving pretty quickly, and we're finding that haste may not be the best policy there, and so, but we did hire an owner's rep, a company called Kramer out of Lansing, and they're helping us get things squared away. We have not yet decided whether to renovate or tear down. Don't feel we yet have enough information to make that decision. We haven't decided how much we want to spend, or how big the place should be, or whether it should include a swimming pool. When the city bought the property, and it got a great deal from the Y, we paid $2 million. Next put up $500,000. We put $1.5 million up. But next, it was essentially a donation because the city owns the building. We were very clear that we didn't want any part of the pool because it's old, it's expensive, and it wasn't clear how long the YMCA would stay in the facility. Obviously, at that time when we bought it, there was a thought that the Y would be building a new facility in Royal Oak, and they still may be doing so, in which case users of the Y in Birmingham could go to a new facility in Royal Oak. If that doesn't happen, then those users are going to be asking where are they going to swim, the pool users. And we may have to take another look at the decision about whether the city wants to be any part of a pool. It's a very complicated situation because there's so many entities involved: the city, Next, the Y, and it's an old building with several additions. And have you been in there, Chuck?
Yeah, I have. I taught swimming in that pool for 22 years, starting in '81, and the building the building in the early '80s had some maintenance issues you could see in terms of rust around some of the, and they have a big picture of old engine Charlie Wilson, who was the chairman of General Motors in like 1951 or something, who built, helped build it. So yeah, it's a venerable old, I want to say baby boomer 1950s, structure. And 22 years I taught there. And so yeah, it is definitely a pool. On the other hand, every other senior center has a pool. OPC, the township, they've all got pools.
They also have 10 times the number of residents and, larger, deeper pocketbooks, let's say.
No kidding. OPC, yeah. But, I can understand that. Why are they throwing this? Why are they throwing next? What's the school board throwing next out of Midvale? They're
not really throwing them out. What they're doing is not giving them a long-term lease. And there's some feeling that they need to assure a home for the long term.
Well, yeah. Midvale. Look, those old 1950s drinking fountains are set so low. Half the seniors can't bend over to get to them. Me either, actually. I have to go down on one knee. It was probably great when I was, 5 years old. But Midvale, they've kept that pup going a long time with Next there, and so right. I should think they'd be grateful anybody wants to be there.
Well, I think they want to put more preschoolers in there. Actually, I think that's what I've heard. But
they can reach the drinking fountains.
I'm a little hesitant to speak in any great detail about the why, because I'm a commissioner and I help make some ultimate decisions about what's going to happen there. But I'm not on the ad hoc committee. I'm not like super up to date on everything. I'm not on the board of Next. I don't know every in and out, and so. Yeah.
So you don't want to speak irresponsibly out of turn. Heck, that never stopped me, but all right. So, question. All right. Now you were mentioning parking and things. This isn't, first of all, I noticed on the website, you're talking about wayfinding and branding. What's going on there?
There is, many years ago, when I was doing the buzz, the city did a wayfinding study and spent $100 and some thousand on a plan for wayfinding. Is essentially signage around town that tells people where to go, how to find parking, where's the library, where's City Hall, where's the ice arena, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe includes kiosks as well as signage and gateway signs when you come into town on Woodward or Maple. And so we never did much with that. We put up some signs at the gateways, but we didn't do anything in town. And this was a project that was reignited by the Birmingham Shopping District, the BSD. And with the city, with the commission and the city manager's consent, they created a committee that ended up hiring, I think the city hired them, an outside consultant to basically redo the wayfinding study with some commitment that we would actually follow through on it. And an additional contract that has been added or will be added to that will be to do signage for the interiors of the parking decks and possibly enhanced signage outside the parking deck. So that would be part, insofar as it impacts the parking decks, it would be part of a program that we have undertaken to restore, let's say, improve, maintain, take care of some deferred maintenance on all 5 parking decks in town. So we've done most of the work on the North Old Woodward deck, and the next one up is Chester Street. So we were presented 2 weeks ago with a contract for close to $6 million to work on the Chester Street deck. We put that off because we want to know a little bit more about how they're handling the interior design, lighting, paint, use of other aesthetic features. So, but we will almost surely be moving ahead with that pretty soon. And it looks like if the size of that contract, $6 million, it looks like we might be spending more than the 12 to 15 that we had originally anticipated. And I say originally, that would be back maybe 2 years ago when we started to look at the parking decks and say they needed work. We anticipated 12 to 15 million. And of course, construction costs have gone up. And so now we're looking at 5 to 6 million for Chester. Who knows what the others will come in at?
So what's this branding? Are they going to rebrand neighborhoods?
Well, we've rebranded the city. We've done a new logo. We've adopted a new logo, which you see on all on the website, on trucks, on all the city vehicles, and so that is after the Marshall Fredericks sculpture in Shane Park. And so if branding, that would be the primary part of the branding. And then the wayfinding also uses that as a motif, let's say.
Well, that statue got me in trouble. I was writing for the news. I put it up and I said, "Oh man, that's not good to have naked people sculptures. It looks too cold in the winter. They should have that's inhuman. They should have Marshall Frederick should have like little metal scarves and boots for them and put it on." I thought it was funny, and I got a nasty letter from Marshall Fredericks about it.
Which you probably deserved.
Yeah, of course, it was deserved. But anyway, so I thought, you're not going to rebrand the neighborhoods. So, I mean, we've got Soho and Soma south of Market. I mean, you could have Wowa, which is west of Woodward Avenue, or east of Eaton. I like,
You have done some preparation for this.
No, I volunteered to do it. The southeast area, for the Pennistone neighborhood, Pennistone Plaza. I'm going to get into that. I know we'll all go in trouble.
I don't know of any. I'm unaware of any branding for neighborhoods.
Darn. Well, there you go. So we're shipping gears. I mean, we've got the Snowball area, which would be the South New Old Woodward, Bowers to Lincoln, South Old Woodward. The time I spend down there, this looks like this area is basically from Restoration Hardware South, a new building. This is blossoming. This looks like this could be the next big thing. But I wonder about parking. Is there sufficient? I mean, do you need to have like something new parking down there?
Don't know. I think we're going to rely on the city to tell us where they stand. Now, the Peabody structure, which is about as close as you get. Well, Peabody and Pierce are. So Peabody is on Peabody Street, just west of Big Woodward, between Big Woodward and Small Woodward, Old Woodward. And then the Pierce Street structure is on Brown, just west of Old Woodward. Those are the two closest parking decks to that area, to certainly very close to RH and the new building going in behind RH where Coldwell Banker was. So they're not going to have, I don't think they're going to have any problem with parking, although Peabody is already filling up midday during the week. And so we need to take a look at that and keep our eyes on capacity. What we used to call the parking assessment district, which is the zoning area where developers do not need to provide on-site parking, that ends around, the new building that's going up where Mountain King was is not part of it.
It isn't. Well, we're going to have to take a break right now. It's absolutely fascinating about the parking, particularly an area of the city that no one really expected that to blossom, and it is. It's just good stuff. We're talking with Clinton Baller, Birmingham City Commissioner. I'm Chuck Moss. Don't go away. We'll be right back here on Eye on Oakland. Welcome back to Eye on Oakland. We're talking with Clinton Baller, Birmingham City Commissioner, and we were on the subject of parking, which is always, of course, a subject in Birmingham, and the South Old Woodward, which is, I like what you call Big Woodward, because when they were doing, I thought Big Woodward and Little Woodward, because one of my high school and college roommate was a guy named Don Woodward, and his little brother called Little Woodward. Deal is that if the parking isn't going to support the infrastructure or the ecosystem there, it may not take off.
Well, that's true. Although the guy building at the Mountain King site did manage to provide 2 levels of underground parking, and that nearly met his requirement. And he got a pass for, I think, 7 spaces from the BZA, and so he's moving ahead. So it's going to be up to developers to consolidate some ground and have enough ground to provide parking. I don't think the city is. There has been no discussion of the city relaxing the requirement for parking down there specifically. We've talked about the idea of relaxing parking requirements in general and allowing outside this district and allowing outside the parking district, because right now anything built in the parking district, the city provides parking. But outside, if you relax the parking requirements, then it would be the market that determined it, and a developer would build something that he thought could be parked. He's not, look, you're not going to build a building, whether it's residential or office or retail, and expect to rent it to anyone whose customers will not have a place to park. So they're going to provide the parking that they feel they need, and given the situation and given whatever public parking happens to exist in those areas.
Well, I love what's going on, with all the new construction in Birmingham, and it's I got to say the city's looking good. Although Restoration Hardware, I mean, there's sort of an irresponsibility there because they don't know it's going to destroy my family's discretionary budget as soon as it comes in.
Yeah.
It's just too great a place. I love it, but well, this is this is good. Now across Woodward, Big Woodward, or New Woodward, formerly known as Hunter. What about the Triangle District? They've got that ginormous building going in, and I've been watching it go, and it looks like it might be kind of cool. Actually, I don't know what's going to be there.
I believe 160 apartments.
Residential.
Oh yeah, all residential. There might be a small retail component, but it's mostly residential. We'll have. We're waiting for mast arms for traffic lights to complete the crosswalk at Brown. So that'll be a big improvement because, as you know, a couple people over the past number of years died crossing that. So we finally got MDOT. We got Brown Street redone in front of the Jack's Car Wash, and now we're just waiting for MDOT to install that crosswalk. That will help. Those occupants of the 160 new apartments, and then there's another 210, I believe, that were proposed for the corner of Woodward and Maple, the southeast corner. Southeast, yeah.
Yes, southeast. That's where the old hotel.
That will put a significant number of feet on the street who are wanting to cross Woodward into the central business district. And that's a good thing because I think there's safety in numbers when you cross a street like Woodward. And the city commission has made it its number one priority, along with the planning board, in terms of both implementation of the 2040 plan and just general actions that we can take. It's our number one priority to reduce the impact that Woodward Avenue, Big Woodward, has on the city in terms of dividing it and safety of crossing it, reducing speed. There's a checklist called a road diet checklist that a city must complete, and it's very involved. It involves a lot of research. It's taken 2 years to do this checklist, which we then submit to MDOT in a bid to reduce the speed from 45 miles an hour to something less on Woodward, and possibly reduce the number of lanes from 8 to 6. Ferndale did something similar. They're a different community, different traffic volume down there, but we think that we can get something done up here as well. So those are some things we're working on. As far as triangle development, I mean, there are still some large chunks of land there that are ripe for development. One of the problems there is that there are not a lot of large chunks. There are a lot of small chunks, and it would require somebody to acquire those chunks and put them together. So that's what happened with the apartment complex on Adams. That was at least 2 parcels of land that were put together. You can imagine some of the other large parcels that exist that are ripe for redevelopment, and I would expect to see some proposals on those fairly soon.
Well, good. It's good stuff. I mean, because that area had gotten very, very sad. I mean, although it would be nice if they could keep the plant station. I love the plant station. They could. They need the building. They haven't torn the building down yet.
Yeah, the guy who owns the plant station refused to sell to the other guys. They wanted to buy that parcel and complete the corner, but he didn't want to sell, and so they just built around him, and now he's got big walls.
There are some very famous old New Yorker cartoons about that kind of thing.
Yeah,
little houses with skyscrapers on either side.
Yeah.
I love the plant station. If they would start selling plants there again, I'd be happy. Now I noticed the Dream Cruise is coming. Anything different? I know you got a more stringent noise enforcement stuff.
Yeah, without regard to the Dream Cruise specifically, but about the noise. You'll notice maybe that there has been some reduction in noise, and that is owing, I would say, primarily to 2 things. Number one is enforcement. We're out there enforcing. Even the law that's difficult to make stick, we're enforcing it, giving tickets, and then letting them fight the tickets if they choose to. Sometimes if they fight them, they can win, but we're issuing those citations anyway. We also have gotten property owners, and this is important, along Woodward to agree to allow us to clear their properties of spectators. And we think that spectators cause noise. In other words, the people making the noise are doing it for the spectators. And the spectators, if you go out there, you'll see there's hardly any in Birmingham anymore, and they're now down below 14 Mile, which is fine. And I think you'll find that there's a lot less noise because of that.
I wondered about that because they used to have like permanent car rallies. All the Pontiac Venturas would be on one side. So now I'm going to shift a gear here. I know you made quite a stir talking about the Birmingham Community House, and I'll make my prejudices known up front. If you had never done anything else and never did anything else as a commissioner, I think this alone puts you in the top rank to be raising these points. So I'll make my prejudices clear here. So what is going on with our 100-year-old civic asset?
Well, I don't know. I think that we don't know. And what I'm doing is raising questions and bringing up facts that, look, we know that the Senior Men's Club, the Senior Women's Club, the Rotary had exited with a great amount of acrimony.
Also, the Birmingham Optimist Club, I believe.
The Optimist.
I'm a member of all 3 of those.
You probably know of others, too. And we also know that programs were slashed. So the travel program, the storytellers program, I could go on, dance program. My last letter had a pretty good recitation of the amount of stuff that went on at the community house as reported in its last annual report. And I don't mean most recent, it's last. We haven't seen an annual report since about 2015 or 2016, I think. I think I have another letter, hopefully going to be published in the downtown, that just asks for transparency. I think at bottom, and I think you will agree with me, that the community house belongs to the community, and whoever happens to be managing it at any given time in history, whether it's board or administration, they are essentially temporary occupants of what is our house. And we deserve a certain level of transparency. We should know what their bylaws say. We should know what their tax returns look like. We should see more detailed financial statements. And if they employ auditors, we should be able to see their audit reports. That's just basic transparency. And it's something that I think the current administration should be perfectly willing to do, given that they have said that they hold themselves to the highest standards of community service. And so that's something I would like to see. I think a lot of people had raised eyebrows at the salary of the current CEO, which exceeded $260,000 a year. Some of his relatives are employed there. I think people are asking questions about that. People are asking questions about the tax-exempt status of the organization and how it is able to compete with for-profit entities, and how that operation, which specifically I'm referring to their hospitality, how that fulfills their nonprofit mission any more than for-profit competitors. So I just think there's a lot of questions to be asked and answered. And I think that the community wants and expects more from the community house than they're getting right now.
Well, it does seem like much of the community has been kicked out of it. So, but the deal is that these are all good questions to ask. But, your issue with the city commission is I don't know how much, leverage the city commission.
This is not a city commission thing. Let me make very clear. This is not the city commission. I made some remarks during commissioner comments, and my remarks were in response to a survey that the community house did, and they wanted to know what we thought. What would we tell a friend about the community house? And I chose my seat at the commission table to deliver my response to that question. It was in no way representative of the city commission's feelings or the city administration.
Well, I say that's too bad, because when the library went off the rails a few years before Doug Koshik became director, the city was able to rein them in before too much damage was done. So,
well, we don't own the house. We don't give them any money. And so it's really up to the community. And I would like to see some of the senior men's and some of the optimists and some of the Rotarians joining in the chorus to demand answers to some of these questions. Now,
these are good questions, all, and then we're unfortunately we're going to be out of time here.
Do I have time to bring up one more issue where the city?
You do not. Okay, if you can do it in 10 seconds.
I can do it in 10 seconds. The city is foregoing significant tax revenue from the community house because of its tax-exempt status. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at.
I think these are questions all, and I think it's incumbent upon an incumbent city commissioner to ask those questions. At that, I should have gotten this a long time ago in the interview, and maybe we'll do it again another time soon. We're talking with Clint Baller, Birmingham City Commissioner, about what's going on in the city. I'm Chuck Moss, and thank you for joining us here on Eye on Oakland.